answer would be. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kelly. I recognize myself. Mr. Feinberg, thank you for being here. Thank you for your family, even those who are watching, your father, and for your family's years of service. I appreciate their introduction. You know, I was disappointed to hear earlier that some of my colleagues characterized your background in the private sector as negative. I think that's disappointing. I've got a different perspective, a positive perspective on that. You know, there was a time in this country when business leaders were applauded for their patriotism and their contribution to our country's efforts to win World War II. And Mr. Feinberg, if your father is tuned in at this point in the hearing, I want to thank him personally in his generation. They also helped us in the Cold War, but to reform the DOD, I think we need someone who can work alongside the Secretary, harnessing the American spirit to ensure the United States outpaces our adversaries. Someone who knows how to reform organizations, improve outputs, harness innovations. So not only, Mr. Feinberg, do you have extensive background investing in sectors critical to national security, but you also served on the President's Intelligence Advisory Board. So thank you for that. So in this position, you had a front row seat to the threats that our country faces. So Mr. Feinberg, can you discuss how your business background and service on the Intelligence Advisory Board makes you well suited to serve as the Deputy Secretary of Defense?
Well, it was an interesting job. It didn't have a lot of ability to act, but we did a tremendous amount of analytics. Every department of all the areas of DOD, all the intelligence agencies, Homeland, FBI, even at times Treasury and Commerce when they affected national security. We got briefings from all of them, had over 3,000, I took over 3,000 briefings. Fortunate to have on that board General Mike Hagee, who was former Commandant of the Marine Corps, as well as Charlie Allen, who's an intelligence legend, served and I guess he retired from CIA at 75, you know. So we had a real good group of people I was fortunate enough to learn from. And all these problems and shortages and issues were laid out for us. So it was an incredibly educational job, very frightening. And I think that laid the groundwork. We, you know, as a DOD and intelligence contractor, we've had a lot of classified contracts, but this was so much broader and, you know, in some ways, as broad as education as you can get.
Thank you for that. And again, thank you for your service on that board. Yeah. So how can the military better harness American ingenuity and innovation to get emerging technologies into the hands of the warfighter faster?
You know, the government doesn't truly understand the private sector, and the private sector doesn't understand the government, okay? Our companies do, I wish they were more patriotic, you know, and they should be all in and always helping us, but they're not. I wish they could understand that there's certain rules in government that are not made by the existing sitting people in government, but they're just there, that they have to work by. Love to get our private sector to be more flexible, but I do think it's people that really understand private sector, that understand how the boards think, how the general counsel thinks, what the legal impediments, the regulatory impediments are. We need to bring them into DOD, have them lead in these conversations with our private sector. The big tech companies have done great things for America. They can do an awful lot more. We have to understand them, what drives them, and go to them with those thoughts, and I hope they'll also be more flexible. There's a world of opportunity for our private sector, like China's doing, way better than us. So it's a big area we need to get at.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Another issue, you know that the PPBE process, or the Planning, Programming, Budgeting, and Execution Reform Project, we talked about that in the office. Will you commit to implementing PPBE Reform Commission recommendations endorsed by the department?
Yes.
Thank you. So if confirmed, do you commit to frequently updating Congress on your plan for the Replicator Initiative and counter UAVs at large?
I do.
Thank you for that. That's an important, Senator Schmidt mentioned that earlier in regards to the swarming technology and Replicator. So a very important program. I hope you'll pay significant attention to that.
Yes.
Thank you again.